evening filled with paranormal, special guests, interviews, haunting stories, creatures of the unknown, and tales that will chill you to the bone. Brought to you by the UPRN Network and Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. Take a walk into the night with Shawn Kelly.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Into the Night with Shawn Kelly. How is everybody doing tonight? Tonight, it's going to be a different type of show. There's going to be a lot of questions, and I will definitely answer them. I do want to talk about a little bit about the show we had on Chasing Prophecy. And what I'd like to do is ask you the same question. Do you believe that the earth is flat? So our guest, he was pretty informative, had different types of graphs. He had this, it was pretty logical. Made me kind of like to think about, like, is it true? Is it not true? But to me personally, and I was taught and I've seen pictures and stuff like that, about space, how round the earth is. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm like, again, like I am with the UFOs and the aliens, theory goes back to Gnosticism. I'm going to have to look that word up, Michelle. Thank you, though, for telling us that. I'm going to have to seriously look that up. But you know what? Sometimes I'm still on the fence with aliens and UFOs. And so maybe this is something that I got to look into. Maybe it is for real. Maybe it is not. Thank you, Michelle. It is fine. I'm going to definitely look. In fact, I'm writing that word down now, because that's a big word. That's another, you know what, Michelle, we'll call that the word of the day. Noctism, But, so how's everybody doing tonight? I'm doing okay. I spent 4 days down in Ohio this past weekend. And I had a lot of fun. Not only do I, go ghost hunting or, investigating and stuff like that. Okay, that was doing good, Commander. Thanks, Grandmaster UV. Tommy Miller. It was frustrating listening to his reasons for believing that the earth is flat. He seemed to get confused and lose his train of thought when he was asked questions. I kind of agree with you a little bit on there, Tom. I definitely was. Grandmaster UV's been riding his electrogravic bike. Oh, sweetness. Sweet. That's pretty cool. It's another word I got to look up. But yeah, Tom, it was really frustrating for me, But as the show went on, he started to make a little bit of sense. Holly, you think he's full of crap? Well, you know what? He is, but at that time, I really thought he was full of crap too, Hall. Absolutely. And Grandmaster UV, normally $600, you can get it for $230 right now. Huh, interesting. Wayne Mellows. Hey, Shawn, there's a lot of thoughts pertaining to the flat earth. You have to remember that everything we know about space and the earth has been provided to us by government and other sources. Thanks, Wayne, for sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that. I don't know, Wayne, if you listened to our last show on Chasing Prophecy, but we did have some guy. Tommy Miller says, I agree with him about thinking that NASA and the government are hiding things from the public, but that doesn't mean the earth needs to be flat. That's interesting, Tom. Who knows what's going out there in the government world? I personally think it's wrong at this very moment right now that we're talking about it. But just like the UFOs, the aliens, the Bigfoots, the cryptids, I didn't believe none of that crap before I started doing radio. Okay. So that's something that I got to look into. I mean, I'm not going to dive head first, and, just focus on having a flat earth. To be honest with you, Tommy and Wayne, Holly and them, some of the words that he was saying, I didn't understand. In fact, as his presentation kept going on, I was like really, really getting confused. And it got to a point in that show to where I just kept my mouth shut because um, I just didn't understand what he was trying to say. But, he was claiming, when he said it being flat, like I was telling everybody, um, I'll get to you in a minute, Wayne. Oh, thanks. Wayne Mello says, I mean, if the entire planet's governments are in on this, everything you see and hear can be doctored to suit the narrative. There are 3D rides out there that could have you believe you're on space. Yeah, that's true too. I'm surprised how much power it has. Oh, okay. Uh, okay, talking about your bike, Grandmaster UV. But, I'm going to have to see, to read up on it because starting the show, before I started Chasing Prophecy, I didn't know nothing about cryptids, Bigfoots. I thought it was all full of crap, to be honest with you. But being on the air for over 3 years now with Jenny, and having all these people on, it's like kind of, it's interesting. It's something different for me. Michelle says people who believe in the flat earth theory will justify it at every angle, which is true. So basically, it's like you can't really argue with them, you know. But our motto at Pittsburgh Paranormal Society is saying, what our saying is that we will respect what you believe, but just please respect what I believe. Now, here's the deal with that. Okay, I'm willing to put a little bit of research in and just seeing where they're coming from. Wayne says the whole place could be nothing more than a well orchestrated stage built for the people living here. That's true. The government's doing that with everything. I do believe, from what having our guests on the shows and stuff like that, and different, like especially with the UFOs and the aliens and stuff like that. You want to ask me the question? Yes. Do I believe there are aliens? I do. Okay. But I want to shake their hand. Okay. I want to shake their hand and welcome them to Earth. Do I believe in UFOs? Okay. There is something out there that I see these little round discs like ding, 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 ding. I want to see one land in my backyard. Tommy Miller says, I think there's too much evidence with ancient cultures tracking and building pyramids around the constellations. And now we can track where they fell in the atmosphere to believe that Earth is flat and the sun just circles around. Not really, Tom. That one kind of confused me. Can you bring that down a couple notches so our people, and especially me, can understand what you said? Nothing against you, dude. I like what you had to say, but I don't kind of get what you're talking about. So if you can bring that down a little bit. But yeah, so that's something I think that I'm going to be looking into a little bit. I was told, that there's a couple people out there who are big and important. David Weiss. I want to get him on Chasing Prophecy. Okay, here's Tommy coming back and says, I think there's too much evidence with ancient cultures tracking and building pyramids. And now we can track where they fell in the atmosphere to believe that Earth is flat and the sun just circles around. And Michelle says, Oh, there are aliens. Yeah, alien blood people too. Something was at the RH negative factor. That's another whole thing. Like I'm still learning. But I'll tell you what, with all the people on here, okay, all the other different hosts and co-hosts here that talk about aliens, I'm learning a lot about it. You know, I do have O negative blood, and there's a possible chance, 65%, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but I do believe that I could have been abducted. I don't know. All right, Wayne, you said Wayne come back and says it's the same for anything out of the norm. If you have someone believe in ghosts, you'll be hard pressed to convince that person that ghosts don't exist. Same for true, very true. And so, oh, okay, it's true. And you know what? Because at the beginning, when I was investigating Ghost Wayne, all right, when I started investigating, it was like, I mean, I tried to beat it into people's heads that ghosts exist. Okay. And I would get mad at them because they wouldn't believe me. They thought I was me. Yeah, there's our alien lady. Yeah, blue eyes, red hair, and no negative blood. But I tell you what, Michelle, she's the best. She's one of my friends, that I've learned a little bit off of. Oh, you would almost guarantee it. Probably. We're going to have to talk about that someday. But back to you, Wayne. As at the beginning, when I was talking about, mhm, she would agree, guarantee it. Thanks, hon. Tommy Miller says the flat Earth theory is messing with my mind. I don't believe it, but trying to disprove it is just as hard as hearing him try to prove it. I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you. And like getting back to Wayne, what I want to explain to Wayne. Now, as time went on, you know, I learned through other people that by I quit pushing it on people. Okay, I quit pushing that ghosts exist, spirits exist, Bigfoot, whatever. I quit doing it because I know I'm not going to win the argument. But at the beginning of my investigating, I wanted to win, but and I used to get knocked down a couple notches. And you seen one? What's it? What was it? Was it the Did you see a gray, Michelle? Which one did you see? Um, yeah, and Tommy with the flat Earth theory, confusing. But let me ask you this, Tommy: does it give you a little inkling to do a little bit of research with it? Um, you know, with respect to what he has done and what he has been doing by researching it, I have to respect that because that's what I did when I was paranormal investigating. I don't have to believe it, but I give him respect for going out. What really gets me mad is, and it not wasn't him. No. Holly says you really have to experience a paranormal incident to truly believe. I have experienced a few. Would you like to share a couple of those, Holly? I've experienced many, many paranormal incidences, but Hollywood, it was a gray. Ah, okay. Um, I want to see a gray. I want to shake. Michelle, let me ask you this question. If I wanted, could I shake the gray's hand and welcome them without them zapping me up into the universe? I'll let you. I'll let you answer that one. Let you think about that one. But Holly, yeah, it's true. You have an experience. You seen a ghost. You get pushed, punched, shoved, scratched, whatever. Okay, and you try to explain that to people, and they just laugh at you. Okay, and they call you every name in every crazy name. And you know what, hon? That I've experienced that from many people. So what I like to do is I like to bring skeptics on an investigation. And it's not so much, I, I have to call it skeptic because it is the word skeptic. Okay. Um, but what I do is I bring them on an investigation with me, and I don't try to convince them, that ghosts exist. I bring them on, and maybe they might have an experience or not, whatever. And that's happened a lot of times where I have brought people on and they've had that experience like you were talking about, Ollie. And then it changes their mind a little bit. But I'm not out there for them to get the experience because I know damn right and well there's a lot of investigations that I've done that I didn't get nothing, you know. And you also got to remember too, okay, is whenever you go on a paranormal investigation, you have to have an open mind, okay? You can't just go in there with a closed mind saying ghosts exist because as long as your brain is closed, you're not going to get that experience because the spirit's going to say, "Well, why am I messing with this person?" If they don't want to believe, then that's their choice. Why waste my time on them? Now, Tommy says, "I'm open-minded enough to listen to everyone and entertain their theory, but in this case, there are too many questions and holes in the theory that it's very hard to me to believe. And I respect what you believe in, Tom. Absolutely. And I respect everybody who thinks like that too. You know, Michelle says right now, people who go out of the way to have a CES. What's CES? Michelle, what's a CES? Thank you. People pay to have CES. You can actually have the experience by calling up. I don't want to. This gray was in my house. That's cool as hell. Whenever my mind and my mental health gets a little better, maybe I will definitely try calling them out, but I'll make sure I'm right next to you, Michelle, so you can protect me. Absolutely. But yeah, Tom, and for what we were taught for the longest time, okay, in school about the earth being round and, the planets, and someone come out and says flat, it's hard for me. And like I explained to the guy earlier in the show on Chasing Prophecy, and Tommy heard it, and I don't know if Holly heard it, but all I know is that when I was in the Navy, I was out at sea for 3 years and 2 months. Okay. And which means I was on the oceans. I've been around the world twice on boats, on ships. And if you look out, you see the horizon, which is 7 miles, right? But you keep going, and I never fell off the face of the earth. And see, that's where it kind of confuses me. That's where my problem is. Not my problem, but it's my question that I want to ask people like that. Oh, Michelle, come on. Okay. Michelle says sometimes spirits like to get a reaction out of non believers. That's true, hon. That's true. Yeah. But a lot of them, like kind of like the ones that I brought on, they never got an experience because they were closed minded. I love Michelle. She's great. Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. You're cute. That's my producer, guys. Or no, I can't say producer. She is my stage manager. She's the boss. Oh, close. Okay. But I hope, for what I just said, that to Tommy, well, Tommy said, I think I remember you saying in a past video that you have psychic abilities. Do you still practice this? Good question, pal. You know what? I don't. And I'll tell you why I don't because of my mental health. Okay. Um, my mental health, my depression, my anxiety is not good. And right now, I'm in a very vulnerable state to where I don't want to do it until I get better, you know. But yes, I did it for a long time. Um, I did readings, I worked on the psychic hotlines. Um, like it was the big thing, what I did when I do paranormal work. Um, and I hate the word psychic. Please don't say psychic you know, because to me that's like a stage name, Shawn Kelly, the psychic. I'm an empath, dude. I'm a seer. I don't like to put me into the category of being a psychic. Michelle says sometimes spirits like to get a reaction out of the non-believers. That's true. That's true. So if someone would come up and ask me to give them a reading, or if I would give a reading, I would not do that, until my mental health gets a lot better, to know I'm more strong or more powerful. Holly, okay, that's a big one. One time I was sleeping when my cats run over top of me, and their eyes were all big and their tails were all blue. Um, and hold on, Michelle. I'm trying to read Holly here. Um, I was sleeping and my cats run over top of me, and their eyes were all big and their tails were all pooped up. And in the hallway by my bedroom door was a bag of pants of my mother's that I was supposed to alter for her. And this bag was in the closet that was across the house in the living room. And there was a couch in front of the door. I went to check out the couch and still in place, and the closet door was closed. That's pretty interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Hong. Was that like one of your best ones that you experienced? You know. Um, okay, Wayne. Wayne lit Wayne. I live in a haunted house. Many times a non-believer will have the most intense experience. I'm a skeptic, but I'm open-minded. Not every sound is a ghost. Equally, not all noises are explainable. And that's true, Wayne. And it's funny because when we go to investigation, you know what I mean, into a house, what we like to do, the very first thing that we do, um, what we like to do the first thing is go down to, where the breaker box is, and we want to check and see what type of wiring they have in the house. If they got the old knob and tubing type of wires, that is close. That's like 50% of your whole problem, because having EMF that bad in your house, can actually mess with your brain. But no, I mean, okay, you give them a reaction. Okay, God bless you. Okay. Michelle says you need to be completely on your game and grounded at start using all of disabilities. True. Wayne says you were on a ship sailing around the world, but what if I told you that you were only in a simulation? That's why you never sailed off the edge. You know what, Wayne? That's a good question, but I'm telling you right now, I wasn't in the simulation at all. Not at all. I wasn't, because I pulled into Australia, I pulled into Hawaii, I pulled into Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, all over the place. So no, it wasn't a simulation. Uh, Tommy Miller says, "What upcoming investigations do you have coming up? I'd love to be part of one sometime if you're still looking for more people." Ah, okay, Tom. Yes, we are still looking for people, and because I'm going to get fresh meat into it, and we're more than willing to help you out and stuff like that. Right now, we got one coming up this Friday at the Penn Brewery. We're going to be there, and the following weekend, following Friday, we're going to be up in New York at the Hinsdale House. So I'm going to tell you all about those investigations on one show. Michelle says animals are natural psychics. They are aware of everything they see. Everything cats, in fact, are believed to keep evil spirits away. Is that true, Michelle? That's hard for me to believe, because I always thought cats were like, excuse the phrase, the witches thing. You know what I mean? Black cats especially. I don't know, but that's pretty interesting. I need to look up on that. This is a good show, guys, tonight because you're having awesome questions that you're asking, and there's a lot of more things that I got to look into. This is a pretty good show so far. But Tommy, yeah. But what I'd like to do with you, and especially with new people who want to become an investigator, we'll take you to different places to where it will be on the outside that I know there's definitely spirits there because, a lot of people really want to get into this, and whenever they find out that you go to a house or something like that to investigate, that you're sitting in a room with no lights on and you're talking to something that's probably not there, you know. I will have to say that you need to really, really, really have a lot of, um, you really want it, you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, it's nothing like um, what you see on TV, you know, because on TV, you have an hour. Okay, that's all they give you is an hour. And there's so much that you have to prepare for the investigation. I mean, you have to go to the place, you have to set up your equipment, you have to do your base readings all over the house. You check to see about, the electrical part. You have to see, if the pipes are, if, pipes were rattling or something like that. So there's a lot to it. A lot of these places that they go to that you see on TV are, places that are real well known out in the paranormal film. And so what bugs me the most about that situation, now we're going to be paying going to the Hinsdale house, and that's supposed to be haunted. But a lot of them try to make money on it, okay? And the places that do charge for money to go and investigate, a lot of them just pocket that money. But there's also some good ones, okay, that actually use the money to actually, try to get the building back into standards again. Now, a very good instance I'd like to tell you is that we went to Prospect Place. Okay, I've been down there about 9 or 10 times since I started back in 2006, and I really, really love that place. And the original owner, excuse us, but the original owner, okay, um, he would do a little bit of work, but I'm sure he pocketed the money, you know. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Every location has maintenance fees, taxes, electricity bills, and true. Wayne said it's just really well defined simulation. If you never knew reality, the simulation would be all that. It would feel real, right down to the wind and the rain on your face. But which is true what Michelle said, whoa, she like driving like blonde, all this stuff popping up. I love it. But you know what? But there are a lot of places out there that do renovate. And like I was talking about Prospect Place, um, down in Trimway, Ohio, the original owner of the house, they do a little bit of work, right? But, that would be about it. And then one day they had like a little group get together and they kind of kicked them out. And now the money they made through the investigations, they brought it back to the same way it was back in the early 1900s when it was first built. It's a gorgeous place to go to. But again, like Jason was saying in the past show, a lot of these places you have to be out at 2 or 4 in the morning. Okay. And I know Trimway is about 3.5 hours from where I'm at. So you start at 8 p.m. and you have to go through the whole evening to investigate, leave there by 2, then drive 3.5, 4 hours back, you know. And it's hard. It does take a toll on you. then the next day you're just like too damn tired to do anything, and you don't want to look at your evidence, and you just want to eat and want to sleep and stuff like that. But the Hinsdale, they have rooms there with beds in them, and that you can actually sleep, you know, and don't have to be out of there until 10 o'clock. That's the same way down in the Bel Air house down in Ohio. Okay. You can do overnighters. In fact, when we go down, we do weekends. And what happens is that they have places where you can sleep. They got beds and stuff like that. I think you don't have to be out there until 11 o'clock the next morning. So when you're investigating all night long, you're tired, okay? Because whenever you do investigate, it does drain your energy. It really takes a lot out of you. Two things happen. You get tired, okay? And then you get hungry. Really, really, really hungry. And that's when, if we're here in Pittsburgh, we go to Eaton Park and I eat like chocolate chip pancakes with a ton of butter and a lot of syrup. That's my to-go food after an investigation. Oh, really? We used to allow that on occasions here. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we're going to have to go to Canada. You have to invite us up, and we're going to have to go up there and investigate out in Canada. I'd like to, but you know what? I got to get a passport, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. But you know what? Anywhere that there's a ghost investigation, I'm there if I can. I got 7 more years. I can retire. And I can do all the investigating I need. So we used to allow that on occasions here. That's cool. Yeah, just have the hotel ready for us. We'll be out. But no, it does get tired. And I do eat. I do eat at Eaton Park. And I have my chocolate chip pancakes. And that's like my to-go food afterwards, or any kind of restaurant. If I can't find no chocolate chip pancakes, man, I really pound off like 3 eggs, pound of potatoes if I can get them, like 2 orders of toast, a ton of bacon. Now, buffets, breakfast buffets for me after an investigation, whew, I'm good to go, man, because sometimes I go out and I 2-plate it, instead of just the one. People look at me like you're such a pig. And I'm like, well, I'm hungry. Michelle came back and says, we don't do investigations here anymore, but we still allow filming on occasions. That's cool. That's cool. But I love my food. I love my food after an investigation, But there are other times, too, when I come from an investigation, I'm wide awake. I don't get tired. It's like I'm like still pumped up. And then when I get home, and then I crash. There's times after investigation I just go right home because I got to go to work the next morning. Now, this Friday, we got doing the Penn Brewery, okay? And we start at midnight. And I'm just going to go right to work after the investigation, because the Penn Brewery it's not like I'm a, dedicated paranormal investigator. It's just the way, the cards are dealt for me, and I'm okay with that. I'll get off at 2 o'clock Friday afternoon, be in bed at 3, wake up at 11 o'clock and be at the investigation at midnight. And that's how it works, I mean, when I was younger, and I'm talking 20 years, which means it would only make me 40 years old. Okay. I could do that. That's not a problem. So, I'm going to have to drink a lot of coffee or a lot of energy drinks, whatever, but I'm really looking forward to it because it's a new experience for me in my group. So, that's what I got to say about, where my mental capacity is with ghost hunting and how, all the different situations. There's so much stuff that what I explained to you about going in, looking at the equipment or looking at the wiring and stuff like that, um, that's just like one third of what we do, you know. And then whenever we get all set up and then we know what we're doing, then we have to make that plan on what to do. Now, Tommy, getting back to being the psychic, the sensitive, if I feel there's something really evil in the place, I won't bring my crew in, you know, I won't do that. I would never put them in harm's way, never. Um, and that's who I am. If I have to, I go in by myself and probably have to clear the place, but that's for another show. Um, but that's what I do. But my main concern first is, all right, is the safety of my people, and that's really really big for me. You know. Um, so, how's everybody's evening tonight? I mean, besides the Earth being flat and other good things like that, how's everybody doing? Thank thank you very much, Nicole. That's a smart move. Thank you. Oh, Nicole. Oh, there's my girl Nicole. That's Guiding Echoes, man. She has a show on UPRN Radio 105.3. Okay. And it is 7 o'clock Eastern. And she is like one of the nicest friends, ladies that I know right now on this. And, you know, um, go listen to our show. It's Tuesday nights, UPRN Radio 105.3. And, okay, she's on at 7 o'clock, Eastern time. So she's a good girl. She's a very good host, and she's just an all good around person, just like Miss Michelle is too. The host on here, the co-host. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, hon. I'm just being honest. I can't lie. But even with Michelle and all the other co-hosts, and I'll repeat this forever and ever. That they're the best. Okay, there's not one bad host on this show, on this um, channel. Okay, and Michelle is awesome, and so are you. Oh, thank you. I know Michelle's awesome, and thank you for that too. The UPRN family, and that's what it is. Honest to gosh, and we're one. We're a family. It's funny. Some hosts are from Canada. Some are from out in California. Some are down south in Georgia. Some of us here, in Pittsburgh. Some of us are in New York. So we're all over the place. But we all have one thing in common, and that is the paranormal, and that is UFOs, that is aliens, and all kinds of other neat stuff. And definitely Guiding Echoes. Yeah, that's my girl. You have to listen to her show. She's awesome. But we help each other out. Joe, who's our producer, is down there in New Orleans, Mississippi. He's great. Couldn't ask for a better person. And you seriously need to listen to the other shows like The Outer Realm and Guiding Echoes, and Lori Lee's and Dell's and all that stuff. All right, hold on. Tommy comes back and says, "What are your thoughts on gnomes and other little creatures?" I'm so glad you said that, brother, because I tell you what, I believe in gnomes. I believe in leprechauns, and I believe that there are fairies. I have no doubt about it, you know, um, and they do exist, and that's what I wanted to bring up for the last part of my show. Not a fan of gnomes. I don't know. They haven't been mean to me, but I've seen them in the hoods. Um, so in the bottom. So that's where I want to end about the UPRN family. If you really want to learn about different things, aliens, psychic works, sensitive, different things, listen to the channel. Okay. Michelle, could you put in how the people can get in contact with, how they can listen to other shows besides mine, what they can do in order to get that? I'd appreciate that if you put that in. You got to listen to the Outer Realm, You got Guiding Echoes, it Chasing Prophecy. You got Mike Angley. He's on Tuesday nights at 8, and it's just great. And there's a lot more. You'll be surprised how much. Um, there's so much out there to learn. You know, and that's why I want to study. Is the Earth flat? I don't know, but it's something to look into. Like talking to Michelle. Be honest with you. In Oak Island. I thought Oak Island was a really cool show, but and it has to deal with the Knights Templar, and that's something that I really need to look into is the Knights Templar. And there's so much. Do you know how many rabbit holes there are, you know, for Oak Island and all that stuff? There's a ton of rabbit holes, man. And I'll tell you what, and I'll tell everybody out there that once you get into a field like me and Michelle and um, Nicole, Joe, and everybody else, you're going to go down a ton of rabbit holes. It's just like you're just going to be going and going and going and studying and researching. And then you're going to forget that you have a life and that you have to go to work and then you have to eat. But, you just throw all that stuff out the door and you're just like so concentrating on it. Like playing a game now, I played a game Klondike here on Facebook and I'm obsessed with it. I really am. I mean, I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning playing the damn game. After, I go take my 5-hour nap and then I get up before I go to work and I play the game, because I need to get those chicken eggs, those goose eggs up, and I have to build things and I have to go clear an island. Who likes gnomes? Nobody. That's good, Wayne. I like that. I like that, Wayne. Who likes gnomes? Nobody. Okay, Michelle just put it up on the show, on the comments section, and I'll tell everybody if you want to listen to the other shows, okay, you go to www.uprntalkradio.com, and we're also on Facebook, and let's see. Tommy Miller says, "What conspiracy theory, interests you?" That's going to be another show, Tony. The conspiracy theories. There's a lot of them out there, and to be honest with you, I follow them. But right now, I have so much going on. But I will definitely find out. So there's a lot of things going on out there. Now, over 200 different podcast sites, all popular ones. Okay. That's my boy. That's the big boss. That's Joe Montalvo. He's the big boss, best man in the world. So news on the flip side, so much. A lot of places where you can go. Where do gnomes go to get their? Oh my God! Oh, these are good ones, Michelle. Where do gnomes go get their home renovation supplies? Gnome depots. Come on, that was cool. That was cool. But I'm getting about pretty close to my time being up. I got about another 7 minutes. So what I want to talk to you about is my weekend that I had down in Ohio. As you all know, that I do hunt ghosts, and but I also have another I like to do, and that's like go gold prospecting. All right, and down there they had a big shindig down there. And I got to see a lot of friends that I don't see on Facebook. And we talk about gold prospecting, watching them go out in the creek and they do some dredging. It's really, really interesting. And so one night, it's Friday night, okay, we were there at the place. I didn't camp. I'll be honest, I'm a city boy. I don't camp. I do not camp. I do not one spider come in on me, or a snake when I'm laying in a tent. There ain't no way it ain't gonna happen. So I need my bed, I need my electricity, I need my coffee in the morning. I'm not a camper. But about 1 o'clock in the morning, I did go out and All right, Nicole. Yes, camping sucks. It does. And I'm not afraid to admit that, but camping does suck. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm out there with a friend of mine, and we decide to go, just do a little exploration, do a little investigating. And as we went further down the creek, um, my God, it got really, really, really creepy. Okay, because what we did was that we sat on the bank of the creek. All right, and we heard like strange noises. This was like at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we heard some rustling. When somebody walks through bushes or something like that. I don't know if it was a bear or any animals like that, but the noises that we heard, okay, um, God, nuts. It made my heart like go beat a little quicker than it was supposed to. But you know what? It's was really fascinating knowing that I could pan for gold, all right, and also do some paranormal investigating too. Wayne says panning for gold in an old riverbed would be prime territory to encounter a spirit. My opinion, of course. Oh no, it's a good opinion. It's a real good opinion, Wayne. My very first show, one of the third show I had on Into the Night, I had a real good friend of mine. He owns a couple mines up in Montana, and they're silver mines. And we talked about Tommy knockers. I'm glad you brought that up, Wayne. And he, says everything. He totally agrees that Tommy knockers are there, and they are for real. Ghosts, much like the people they were in real life, would be very protective of their find. That's true, Michelle. That's true. Um, I've heard some stories from other people. It's like, and they got messed up pretty bad, really, really bad. But Tommy knockers are for real. And Tommy knockers, a little history behind the Tommy knockers, real quick, is that they come from Cornwall over there in England, and they were brought over um, the Cornish miners, and they brought the thing, I guess, the deal with Tommy knockers. And what Tommy knockers basically do is that they're in the mines, and whenever there's about it, like an avalanche, if the thing goes in, a tunnel collapse or whatever, the Tommy knockers always, warn the miners that are in there. It's time for them to get out, you know. And what a lot of people do, feed them and leave them cigarettes or leave them tobacco, whatever. But my friend says that he's been saved many a time by Tommy knockers. And I mean, the guy's legit. I mean, totally legit. And I'm hoping that maybe one day I'll ask him again if he wants to come back on again. I don't know if he will or not, because I know he's got a busy schedule. But I tell you what, we'll see what happens. But a wonderful 4 days off, panning for gold, and ghost hunting. Really great. So I got about another 2 minutes left. Tommy, okay. Tommy said, in the world less magical now, or are most people just not as open-minded to see it in the creatures around us? You know what? That's true. There's not a lot of open-minded. Well, let me rephrase that. There's a ton of open-minded people. Okay, there is, and but Tommy, you know how busy you are during the day. You have no time. You're always working. You're always moving around. And it's not like that people can actually concentrate on different things are there. So I believe that there's the closed mindedness of people has kind of opened up. There's more open minded people, but they just really don't have the time to really get into it. Now, Wayne says, remember ghosts were once true. Were once living beings. I think if you announce that you're there to hunt ghosts, the spirits who are aware they pass, would be very leery of showing themselves to the hunter. You know, the reason why sometimes I say that I hunt ghosts, okay, I'm just so used to saying that. ghost hunters and spirit. But you have a good point. You know, there hasn't been an investigation, where they don't run, and to be real and to be honest with you, a lot of the spirits, especially the spirits up in Gettysburg, they want to speak, they want to talk, they want to share their stories. So that's why you're not technically fond of the term. Okay, what term would that be? Open-minded. But there's a lot of spirits that want to be heard. They want to tell their story. And there are a lot of groups out there are there to help them tell their story. Okay. Oh, okay. Ghost hunting. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm just a paranormal investigator. But it's so hard because I've been saying ghost hunting for a long, long time. Actually, I'm a paranormal investigator. You know what? That's something I got to work on. I don't know if I'll ever change, but you know what? Maybe someday I will. But on that note, it's to each his own. It's a personal thing. I love you to death. You're the best, Michelle. Nicole, Tommy, Michelle, thank you and Wayne, especially Wayne. Good questions tonight. It's good to see you again, buddy. And Holly, good to see you too. Thank you for sharing that wonderful story that you had. Maybe we can get another one next week. But I just want to say before I get out of here is that, you know what, parents, if you can, go up to your children and tell them that you love them and give them a big hug. And children, please go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Okay? And with all that, thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Amazing show tonight. Thank you. And everybody, have a good night. See you next week. Happy hunting.